Absolute bedlam. Absolute bedlam. Absolute bedlam. Talking about topics and stuff. Absolute bedlam. Absolute bedlam. Absolute bedlam podcast. Who? What? Where? Why?
It's just going to be absolute bedlam now.
There we go.
Dorset, England's gateway to the sea. Legends tell of how travellers and wayfarers would navigate vast oceans to meet the natural beauty of the Jurassic coastline. As the centuries have passed, only their song remains. Absolute Bedlam are proud to be sponsored by Shanty Spirit, the taste of the Jurassic Coast.
Hello and welcome to another episode of Absolute Bedlam podcast. Tonight is one I've been looking forward to for a while. I think I managed to nail Chris down probably about 9 months ago, maybe. That's usually my style, is booking people ridiculously far down the line and then actually realising that that's next week. So yeah, we got Chris Stixx Davies, drummer of Raiders. How's it going? You all right?
How you doing, man? You all right?
Yeah, all good. All good. Yeah, is this your first podcast that you...
Yeah, first live audio podcast.
Nice.
I've done one before, transcribed for a blog, but never quite like this.
Yeah. Fair enough. Well, welcome to the
Thank
Hive.
you. Thank you for having me.
That's all right. So our mutual friend Sean knows all about this question.
Yeah.
So how was school life for Mr. Stixx?
How to answer that? When I was there, yeah, it was cool. I played a lot of drums when I was in school, so I didn't spend an awful lot of time there, if I'm going to be really honest. Once I found music,
Yeah,
I spent a lot more time hiding in the music room and playing drums, and at home playing video games. I'm really honest about it.
Can you remember the naughtiest thing that you or someone else at school did that you are willing to disclose on a public forum?
I guess I probably smoked a lot of weed when I was in school, so that would probably count as the naughtiest. Yeah, smoking weed on school premises.
Yeah. Did you get caught?
Not by anybody that worked at the school.
Hey.
Parents, when I was, my parents caught me, but I never got caught in school.
Yeah. That's a result then.
Yeah.
It's not illegal unless you get caught.
Yeah. I mean, school was a long time ago now, so,
yeah.
It's not in my agenda anymore, but.
I don't know if we're quite in the world of using podcast clips as court evidence, but, maybe we've just crossed that line of it's not illegal unless you get caught, Vanguard at 2023.
Maybe. I wonder if I can be convicted on something that I did 25 years ago, maybe more.
Yeah. Statute of limitation. It's all good. So yeah, drumming. So how long can you remember you've been drumming for, and what initially got you behind the kit?
So I've probably been drumming for about 25 years or so. I started when I was about 13. We were in music classes in school, and they just started offering like different instrument classes once a week. So like half an hour you could go and like play drums or play guitar or something. So I remember signing up for drums thinking, oh, that'd be cool. Wouldn't mind having a go at that. And turning up there and getting like only actually getting like quarter of an hour a week with some guy who now when I look back on it was, just some guy. He wasn't a music teacher. Do you know what I mean? He was just some dude to play drums who was trying to make a buck on the side.
Yeah.
So I went there and like I'd like a quarter of an hour lesson once a week for like, I don't know, 2 months. He taught me how to play Fun Loving Criminals, Scooby Snacks. And then I would just be like, my quarter of an hour would be up, and I'd be like, oh, let me stay here. Let me stay here. And he'd be like, if you sit quietly in the corner over there, you can stay here. And then if anybody don't turn up their lessons, you can play. But if any teachers come looking for you, I didn't know you were there.
Yeah.
So
Wow.
that was the start of it, man. So,
Yeah.
and after a couple of months, starting to play like Nirvana covers and Metallica and Offspring and things like that, and meeting other kids in school that were then into it, boys who played guitar, and be like, I start a band and do little school performances and things like that. And it snowballed.
Yeah.
By the time I was 15, I was in a band playing gigs regularly. I played my first gig when I was 15 years old in like a Labour club or whatever.
Yeah.
And in back then, so we're talking like in the year 2000, and the Welsh music scene was absolutely kicking in like 2000, 2001. This after Phonics and Manics and Catatonia had done the big Cool Cymru thing. And then the band who should not be named anymore were really big at that time. And a massive scene started to follow, So it was cool. By the time I was 15 years old, I could play a gig in South Wales 2 or 3 times a week without really having to travel very far.
Yeah.
And did. And, every week, 2 or 3 shows a week.
Yeah. Got to keep your hand in. Got to go through the circuit early days and see what comes out the other side.
And I did that toilet circuit.
Yeah.
Have I stopped? I don't know if I've stopped doing it.
I think RVP from Devon Townsend, who I've had on here previously, the drummer of Devon Townsend, he had quite a similar thing where he had a bit of an ultimatum and a bit of a confrontation with his headmaster and his parents, and he said, look, I want to drum, and I don't really give a shit if any of you approve of my life choice or not, because this is my sort of calling. And it is interesting sometimes to see that spark ignite quite early on, because some people it happens really far into their life and kind of turns their life upside down, and they have to uproot and move and stuff like that when they've already been married and got kids and stuff,
all that stuff is coming for me now. The stuff you just mentioned, married and kids, much later in my life. I did all the band stuff really early on, and I've stuck at that for a long time, and had my hand in other parts of the music industry as well. But like, I don't know, maybe I didn't quite have that sort of come to Jesus meeting with my family. I think they could just see that it was happening, and were just super supportive of it. Like my mom and dad would drive me to all the shows with my kit until I was 17, and I had my own car and take myself, and and then it was Tetris, pack the drums and the guitar amps and the boys into the car because I was the only one in the band. But and it was just a grind, man, and it was a laugh.
Yeah, it's good stuff. Nice. So how long have Raiders existed for, and have you always been their drummer since the inception, or did it come a little bit later on?
Yes, I've been with Raiders since the beginning. So I think we probably got into a room for the first time maybe 2016 or 2017. I used to own a recording studio, and when the blackout finished, and in the run up to all of that, sort of 2013, 14, 15, definitely 14 and 15, Sean and I used to spend a lot of time together at that studio. So when the blackout was done and dusted, and I heard him talk about how on your podcast how he didn't know what he was going to do next, and so I was with him for all of that. And at the time, I was kind of on the tail end of my engineering run, and I was injured, so I wasn't really drumming, and I didn't know how long or if I would ever drum again. But we'd band around the idea of, should we get in a room and do something?
Yeah.
And I think it was probably like a year later where that really started coming through after the Blackout's last show. So yeah, probably around 2016. And I know that Sean and Bob had talked more seriously about it, and they'd reached out to me early on, and I was like, look, I physically am not ready yet. I'm still injured. You're gonna have to give me a little bit more time. And I know that in the meantime, they went and tested the waters with some other drummers, but didn't get anywhere with it. And then I just happened to come back on the one day and be like, right, I'm as good as I can be.
Yeah.
Let's get in a room and have a jam and let's see what happens. And to my knowledge, like that was the first time. Well, I mean, that was the first time the three of us got in a room together, and that was the formation of the band. And then I brought Ryan, our bass player, in. I'd gone to college with him, so I'd known him for a long time. And he was a guitarist, but I'd seen on like an Instagram story him playing bass with another band. He was one of those dudes on on a local circuit who would play with like 4 or 5 bands at a time.
Yeah.
And I saw that he was playing bass for somebody, so immediately reached out and was like, "Yo, come and jam with us," because all the real bass players on the scene would be like, yeah, I learn the songs and I'll come, and they're like, oh, I love the tracks, and then they just wouldn't turn up to the scheduled rehearsal we had with them. And Ryan was, to be honest, Ryan was the one that turned up and has stayed.
Yeah,
much to the Sean and Bob's chagrin sometimes.
Love that. Go on, sorry.
Sorry, yeah. So like in a way roundabout way, so like 2016, 2017, we started the band officially once Ryan was in, probably like 2017, and we'd written maybe we'd jammed out like 3 or 4 songs at that point. But Bob's always got like a wealth of tracks that we can work on. Yeah, so there's like 20 songs in the can ready to go.
Yeah. Well, I saw you guys at Teddy Rocks. Obviously, we've discussed this with Sean at length. The fact that he said "fucking Teddy sucks" and he told everyone to get out of the tent. And I imagine with him, sometimes it's a bit like, what's he going to do next, and who's he going to abuse next, and who can he offend next?
Yeah.
But you just have to sit at the back and kind of watch it all unfold in real time.
I enjoy it. I've known Sean a long time. Like I say, I've known him a long time, and. As I heard him say, he's a comedian trapped in a front man's body. Yeah, and that's absolutely true. Like, you come and see a Raiders show, and you get sort of some music, some carnage, and some comedy. Like, I think it's a good blend of them all.
Definitely.
You don't. I don't know. You don't know what's coming next. It's not a safe place to be if you're a Tory.
Yeah. Fantastic. So I haven't seen the Blackout live, so I wanted to know from because I think I messaged you about this before we recorded. Yeah. Because I think you saw them before they played Download, didn't you, in your local area?
I did, yeah, for the sort of homecoming warm-up show. Yeah.
So what's your thought on the Blackout getting back together, as obviously Sean and Bob are also in Raiders at the same time?
Oh, I love it. I'm so stoked for the boys to be back doing that. I saw the heartache that Sean went through when our band stopped, and that was his life. And I'm so happy for him. I'm so happy that they're back doing that. It came at a great time for me. Selfishly, it came at a great time for me because I was already planning on having a down year from Raiders because my fiance and I were having a baby at the beginning of this year. So I knew that this year was going to be a much more quiet year. So the fact that they were doing that, I felt it felt good for me that, one, they were going to go and do the thing that they love doing so much, but 2, that they were going to have something to do while I was away.
Yeah.
And I wasn't just leaving everybody in the lurch.
Yeah. No, fair enough.
So good to see them back on a stage and loving life, and all the boys, not just Sean and Bob, all of them.
Yeah,
like, I've known all those boys for a long time, and it's lovely to see them back.
So this isn't a question I've got written down, but this is just something that I've noticed from afar because I'm a massive, massive fan of Sappenin. Love Morgan, love Sean. I've listened to pretty much every episode.
Yeah.
Raiders feels to me like I could kind of go up to you and speak to you before or after a show, whereas the Blackout seems quite, at the moment, it seems quite sort of trendy and monolithic. And in February, they're playing a lot of academies and a lot of arenas and venues that I probably couldn't do that because there'll be some sort of barrier in the way.
Yes.
So I think, is that a fair analysis of what's going on in terms of, I'm not saying that there's like a hierarchy or a priority list for Sean, but I think I'd probably rather, at this point, rather go to a Raiders show and say hello to all of you than go to the Blackout. And I'd probably have a good time at the Blackout, don't get me wrong.
Oh, you would. Yeah,
You know, yeah.
I think it's fair to say that if you come into a Raiders show, you will definitely be able to have a conversation with us, and we'll be milling around because we're first of all, I like to think we're approachable people, and we've built a community around us, which is largely off the back of the Sappenin podcast, which is largely off the back of the Blackout. Like the core of that Sappenin fan base are Blackout fans who followed the band around the country for the majority of their career, and they did the same and do the same for us.
Yeah.
We're absolutely the band that you could come and approach at a gig. You will find us on the merch desk. You'll find us sitting around, wandering around. Sean as well. You know, I know it's probably got that air of untouchable about them because of the Blackout, but I think that it's a stature thing, and when I mean stature, I mean the size of the band kind of puts them in that position where they play in those venues, so it's not able to just mill about in the crowd like they could at our show. We're playing smaller venues unless we're supporting bigger bands. When we supported Funeral for a Friend, we played those bigger venues then, and you probably wouldn't have found us milling around at the front. But you come to a regular Raiders show, like we played a show in a local place called Abertillery on Friday night, and there's 100, 150, 200 people there, and absolutely, we're out in the crowd with them for the night.
Do you prefer opening, being main support, or headlining a show personally as yourself?
I probably supporting. I like the thing about headlining shows. Like we just played a headline show on Friday night, and it's great because we get a longer set, and I get to bring my nice drum kit. But it's the waiting round. It's such a buzzkill. You get to the venue at like, I don't know, say 5 or 6 o'clock for loading. You do your sound check, and then you're waiting. You're waiting and waiting, and we played. We were on at 10:20, so from 6 o'clock to 10:20 is just waiting around time. And there's other bands playing, and you get to see the other bands, and that's great. But ultimately, when you're in a band, you're there because you want to play. Yeah. And especially when you're at my age, and I've been doing it as long as I have, I literally want to get on, play, and probably sell some merch and or leave. I definitely prefer to be on. Also, I'm probably not opening, but I like the middle of the card, to use a wrestling term. I like the middle of the card. Yeah.
Then you can kind of breathe and let the main band or the headlining band do their sort of.
Yeah, you get there. You haven't got so long to wait around after your sound check. You maybe watch one or two bands. You play. You get a little bit of time to chill out before you can exit the venue. But like headlining, it's like it's late. You're done. You're packing down. You want to get out because in my case, I got work the next morning. It's there's the realities of being in a band. For most of us.
Slightly non-musical question, but when you're not behind the kit, what do you like to do outside of that? Is there any other hobbies, or is it very family orientated?
These days, I'm very family orientated. My soon-to-be wife and I, we spend a lot of time with our young daughter and our son. do a lot of food festivals and small
Mm.
music festivals, anything that's going on really that we can go and get involved in.
Yeah.
Outside of the family stuff, I love. I'm a gamer. So when I got time these days, because I got a 6-month-old daughter, but when I got time, I like to have an Xbox pad in my hand.
Nice. What are you currently playing when you get a chance?
To be honest, I'm playing a couple of quite old games at the moment. I've been playing Shadow of Mordor,
Okay.
and Shadow of War.
Mm.
Games that I bought 10 years or more ago now, and just getting back into those and just ripping through them.
Yeah.
I play a lot of Fortnite.
Okay.
I know that's a love-hate game for a lot of people, I know.
Yeah.
It's a love one for me. I just thoroughly enjoy it.
I don't know how people stream that for 12 hours straight. I just think that I've usually got like a sort of 30 to 45-minute capacity on that game, and then I'm out.
I can put a couple of hours in, but I couldn't do a full 12 hours. I couldn't sit and do it for that long. But like, I lose time in it. I can definitely lose time in it.
Yeah. Are you more of a shooter or a builder?
Oh, shooter. I play no build.
Yeah. That's quite a new addition, isn't it?
I come from playing Call of Duty and things like that, so I like, the building pisses me off, if I'm going to be honest.
Yeah.
It really fucks me off when I'm in the middle of a battle with somebody and they build a fucking wall around themselves.
Yeah. Apparently that was never actually meant to go as hard as it did. It was always meant to just be a wall. But then you've got people building travel lodges with Wi-Fi, and you're like, what the fuck? Like, how the fuck does this happen?
When I first started playing it, and they didn't have a no build mode, and I was a complete noob, and all of these kids who play it non-stop, like, I'd be like, oh, here we go, here's somebody, I'll get in a battle with them now, and then pop, 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 they're in the sky, and they're
instantly
miles away
vaporized.
from me.
Yeah.
So crazy, like. So yeah, definitely no build mode. Forza is another game I play a lot of. Forza Horizon.
Yeah.
A driving game, and if I'm not on the Xbox, I play a lot of Football Manager.
There we go.
Nice.
Nerd. Yeah. There we go. Well, I've just downloaded Banjo-Kazooie Remaster on Xbox.
Oh, cool, man.
And I realized how much patience I must have had as a kid compared to now, where I have very, very little patience for anything that consumes my time. Very slippery game. Very, very slippery. Considering it's a platformer, sort of Banjo's legs, he's a bit all over the place, and I've rage quit a few times where I'm trying to like climb a tree, and I'm just like, fuck this.
I did the same thing when Crash Bandicoot got remastered, and I put that game back on 20 years later, and I'm like, I'll play this. Like, how was I any good at this game? It's ridiculously hard.
Yeah, it is hard, Crash Bandicoot. Yeah, awesome. So, Mr. Sean Smith wants to know if you've got any Korn songs planned for your wedding playlist.
There's one on there, I think. I have to consult with my future wife on this one. There's a Korn song on our playlist, right? Yeah, what we got? Freak on the Leash? Got the Life. There we are, until Got the Life. Okay. Bit of a disco beat.
Yeah. Love that. Awesome. Some quick.
I'm trying to slide Limp Bizkit Hot Dog in there for the older people.
Oh yeah.
As well.
Lots of swear words. We love that. Got some Twitter questions. Why is that so hard to say? Twitter questions. Then we'll go to a quick break. So we've got Jessup Tweets. I'm assuming that's not his surname. It's just something that he does. Does he still miss playing bass? Is what he asked.
Yes and no. I was in a band with Jessup for many years. Called All the Damn Vampires, kind of like a cross between the Bronx and Every Time I Die, maybe somewhere in there, with a little bit of Reuben mixed in.
Yeah.
Real bouncy riffs and a lot of jumping around and swearing and spitting. I miss those days. Yeah, I used to. I tell you, it's nicer turning up with a bass guitar in your hand than it is carrying a drum kit. So yeah, I definitely miss it for that. But yeah. I do miss playing bass.
Nice. Got some board guy who's also known as on Twitter the Acapolaholics, I think it's called. Sorry if that's wrong. Does Sean spend a lot of time on his hair before he comes out onto stage?
Not that I've noticed, no. Maybe he does at home, but we're not married, so I don't know.
Yeah.
Definitely not at the show.
Yeah. I think Sean's got that element of like hot mess
Oh, I feel like
where he
was
kind of just shows up, throws some fucking hairspray in, and whatever happens, and whatever he looks like is, you know.
that back in the day there was I know that back in the day there was a lot more time spent on it, and there were definitely a lot of hair straighteners involved.
Yeah.
But those were the days. You had to have a straightened fringe.
Yeah. We got a guy called Josh, is following TBO. I'm assuming that's the Blackout. He's asked, how did the band come up with the concept for the Animal music video, and was it fun to be part of?
Oh, cool. Well, that's some time ago now. Like, it doesn't feel like it because that video is probably more recent, but we made it quite a while ago, just after lockdown. Yeah. So like conceptually, that came largely from Sean. We spent a little bit of time on a Zoom chat with Aaron McKenzie from While She Sleeps, who sort of directed and filmed. Well, he done everything for the video, with a small crew. We went up to Sheffield and we filmed that at the While She Sleeps compound. It was loads of fun. It was good fun being around those boys. We had a good laugh. It was a really good day, and it was a long day, but it was a really good day. Concept purely from Sean's mind. It was thrown out in a Zoom meeting. We all thought it would sound cool. Aaron threw his spin on it. He kind of storyboarded it for us. We gave him the big thumbs up, and on we went with that.
You a fan of While She Sleeps in terms of their music and all that sort of stuff? Because they seem to be the sole template now for bands becoming self-managed again. That ability to sort of tell the record label to jog on and the management to jog on, and we've actually got this ourselves. We've got more control in our own hands.
Yeah,
and
I mean,
I'd love to meet them.
They top boys. What they have done for the industry is second to none. Like you said, they've given everybody a path back in to do it yourself. And I love that DIY mentality. I've always been a DIY punker. I've never been signed to a major label in any band I've ever been in. It's always been self-managed, and even now with Raiders, I tend to take the reins more often than not on the management stuff. I've always done everything. So them doing that is like, it's amazing what they're doing, and that they can do it at such a massive level. It definitely helps that you've been there and have that fan base in the first place. Make no bones, it would be very difficult to get to where they are on your own. But to give the middle finger to the labels and do all that yourself is phenomenal. Very proud of them, and I'm sure they're very proud of themselves, and so they should be. Fantastic.
Last question, because we've got kind of 8 minutes left before the Zoom ends. We'll join the next meeting after this. This is a bit of a crazy question, but bear with me. When you take the bins out and the recycling out, do you lead or do you follow what your neighbours do?
No, I would say I lead. I pay no mind to what my neighbours do. I know the schedule.
You know the schedule. Wow. Fair
I'm
enough.
a very organised person for the most part. I'm a pretty organised person, so I might call it OCD. I know the schedule.
Do you ever want to take the wrong bit out to see if everyone follows you, and then you fuck them all up?
Bring it back in at midnight.
What's he doing? Fantastic. Right, well, I'll let you get another drink. I'll let you pop to the toilet, and speak to you in a sec.
See you in a bit, man.
Cheers, guys.
SETTSURF Ethical Skincare. SETTSURF uses only the finest organic minerals and ingredients, taking an ethical approach to protecting the planet as well as your skin. You take care of the good times, while SETTSURF takes care of your skin. Are you off to the beach this summer? Well, why not get your hands on some SPF 30 or 50 SETTSURF Suncream to keep your body protected? Absolute Bedlam Podcast, proud to be sponsored by SETTSURF Skincare.
And we're back. So, slightly deep question and then just a ton of really silly ones.
Okay.
What keeps you motivated? What keeps you sort of getting back behind the kit and sort of creating music and playing music and doing stuff like this where you're being interviewed? What keeps you wanting to sort of progress this and keep going?
God, that's a tough one, because there have definitely been times where I've not wanted to.
Yeah.
Like I say, my musical career probably spans the best part of 25 years at this point. And there have been hiatuses in that time. There've been hiatuses through just having had a fuck full of it all. The traveling, the playing the shitty local shows, stabbed in the back by people you consider to be friends and brothers, and then just taking time out and just losing complete interest in it. And then you sit in the sidelines for, let's call it a year for argument's sake. At one point I sat out for, and you think, I'm done with this, but then you can feel the itch starts. I wouldn't mind getting back there. And I honestly can't tell you what or why. I don't know if it's because I've been doing it for so long or from such a young age, but there's like, I couldn't even call it a burning desire to do it anymore. It's habitual, perhaps. It's just a hard habit to kick. There's nothing quite like getting up on stage with a bunch of your mates and playing some songs, and fuck, even if you're playing to two people in the crowd, it doesn't matter. Like, as long as you play well, it's enjoyable. And I've found myself being unable to leave it alone. I don't know what the real answer is. I don't know what motivates me to do it, because it's not fame and fortune. It's 100% never been about that for me. At one point, it was probably about doing it for a living, like Sean and Bob used to do, full timers. But I decided I wouldn't even want to do that now. I just love being in a room with the boys and writing music. I love getting on that stage with them, and it's great to see, especially now these days. We see a bigger crowd turn out and people singing our songs back to us. That can keep you coming back for sure. It's hard to say what motivates me to do this, because sometimes I ask myself that question and I have no answer. Like, why am I still doing this? I'm nearing 40 years old. Why am I still doing this? I don't know.
It is interesting, isn't it? Because I played bass for about 8 or 9 years, and I was in semi-professional bands. I was in metal bands, rock bands, punk bands, metalcore a little bit. Played with bands like Crossfaith and all that sort of stuff, and Zico Chain, all that sort of shit. There's something about it of just getting on stage and kind of blurting it all out. But it's enabled me to do this because I feel you on the whole sort of creative itch. I have to do something. I'm a bit fidgety in life. I've always got to be building some sort of tower or some sort of sandcastle. There's always something in my head that's like, I should put these two people together and see what they sort of create.
What can they do together? I had times where I wasn't playing music, but there was a creative itch there still. So like, even when I wasn't playing in a band, there was times where I had recording studios. So if I wasn't playing, I was working the other side of the desk. There was a stint where I was writing music for wrestling, entrance themes and stuff like that. I co-wrote. Here's one for you. I co-wrote the theme tune for Sappening podcast and produced and engineered it.
Yeah. Fair enough.
So that's me and Bob, and Sean obviously doing the vocals. But yeah, that's basically Raiders.
Yeah.
But that was at a time where I was actually in the early stages helping out with the editing and definitely the mastering, not so much the editing. Morgan's always edited the podcast, but I helped him out with the mastering and kind of when I had a bit of a strop one day and was like, all right, I'm not doing this anymore.
Yeah.
I'll show you what I do, and then he ran with it and made what I do look easy.
Yeah.
Which also annoyed me.
But yeah, just going back to like the whole creative thing, I think a lot of times I compare this to sort of Iron Man in Endgame, where he says to Pepper Potts, like, I can drop this, I can stop. And then Pepper says to him, yeah, but will you be able to rest?
Yeah.
And it's that incessant sort of, like him or loathe him, I don't really give a fuck, to be honest, Elon Musk, that sense of like, I have to create and try to make things better for myself and improve gradually and incrementally, and I don't know how I can just sort of stop doing it, there's this incessant need to do something all the time.
I think if I stopped now, like if I stopped playing drums tomorrow, in 6 months' time I'd be back again. It'd be habitually like I wouldn't be able to, like I'd be like, nah, I'm done. Let's just do family life and do real work in life and all the rest of it. Let's have a normal life. And I know that I would end up doing something. I would end up being like, join a covers band or something, or start like a Ruben tribute band. Do you know what I mean? Something. I'd have to do something. Like I said, I've been doing it since I was like 13 or 14 years old. So it's like, it's almost second nature to be doing it. I don't know what I would do if I wasn't doing it at this point. So it doesn't bear thinking about what I would do if I actually decided to retire, because I've always said I will one day. I don't see myself being that. I don't see myself being the aging dad band. You know what I mean? When you see the real older fellas playing the local circuit and they just play Leonard Skinner covers and they're loving life and they're enjoying themselves. But I don't see myself getting to that point. I've never seen myself being in a covers band. I don't. There'll be an end one day, but I don't know if it'll come to a point where I'll just be like physically won't be able to do it anymore.
Well, the way out,
be that far off.
The way out for you, I think, just thinking off the top of my head, is to get the royalties from Sappening podcast for the intro and the transition bits, and you'll slowly start getting a check. Like Cannibal Corpse get a check from Ace Ventura every month. I think they get like $17, but it's not the point. Do you know what I mean? It's still. Passive income.
I was kind of probably making that per year off some of my wrestling tracks, if I'm honest. I had a couple of fairly high profile British wrestlers who were on the indie scene and ended up going and working for WWE, which kind of killed my business. But I made a little bit off the back end of it on those royalties. I'm sure there's still some trickling in if I look.
Check your bank statement. It's just like random wrestler name. Fantastic. Right, so some silly questions. Can you remember the first phone that you ever had?
A Motorola flip phone.
Razor. Or was it a bit?
Don't know what model. Oh no, probably wasn't. No, it wasn't a flip phone. It wasn't. No, it was a Motorola. How old are you, man? You might remember these.
33.
33, so you might remember these. They were the big fucking chunky ones with the chunky aerial on top. I can't remember the model, but I definitely had one of those. I had a pager first. That's nice. That's my age group. Look, when I was in comp, mobile phones would just start to come out. Comprehensive school, high school, whatever. So when I was in high school, mobile phones were just starting to emerge, and I can remember just being like, "Oh, Mum, let me have a mobile phone now," because my friends were starting again. She was like, "No, absolutely no." The compromise ended up being a pager. that I never answered.
Nice.
But yeah, Motorola. I remember having a Motorola. And then the Nokia 3210, because, Snake.
Yeah, absolutely. Snake for 6 days and then the battery would die.
Yeah.
And then realizing actually it's ringing and I should answer it.
Button bashing text messages.
Weirdest place you've ever slept?
Oh. How many floors can I count there?
Yeah.
Back of vans, probably the back of a van. Oh, here we go. Yeah. Going back to Jessup, he'll remember this one, asking me about playing bass. When we were in Old Damn Vampires, we did a little mini tour of France, and we were playing a show in Paris, and we had a day off in Paris the day before. And we were all skint. We barely had enough money to buy food, let alone to have somewhere to stay. So we slept, and we found an underground car park in Paris, parked the van up and slept in there. And the lights were on in this underground car park all night, and they played classical music over the tannoy all night.
Yeah?
Yeah, that's probably the weirdest place.
Yeah, that's up there. Yeah. If you could take one item away from a house in order to slightly inconvenience someone, what item would it be and why?
Wow. The front door. Absolutely. Nice. So they couldn't get in and I'd just be inside and be left alone.
Just the handle of the door or the whole door?
The whole door, bricked.
Whole door. Go all the way in. Just bricked up.
You'd be walking down the street and everybody'd have normal doors and they'd come to the one that's just bricked up.
Yeah. I live at 127 Brick Lane. Yeah, nice. Favorite animal and favorite animal noise?
Favorite animal noise? Shit. I don't know. Whales are pretty cool, aren't they? That's a pretty cool noise. I'm not going to attempt it, but that's a pretty cool sound. But I'm definitely a dog person, so that's my favorite animal is dogs. 100% dog person. Even though we don't have one here anymore because we got a cat who doesn't get on with my dog.
So we got Wales representing. We've got Wales by name, Wales by nature.
Yeah. We have that.
Favorite children's TV show? You can have two if you want.
Ooh. It's Turtles. Yeah, no doubt. It was Turtles. Like I lived and breathed Turtles when I was growing up.
Yeah.
And I'd throw in Ghostbusters as a close second.
First one?
The OG cartoon. Like if we're talking cartoons, then the OG cartoon, around late 80s, early 90s.
Favorite Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle?
Michelangelo.
Party
dude.
Yeah. I did like a bit of Splinter and Shredder. I liked it when they fought occasionally when the time arose. Bit of Rocksteady as well. I quite like him as a
You got Rocksteady, you're ballers. Fair play to him.
Yeah.
Damn fucks. But what a good laugh they would have been to hang out with.
Yeah. Right. So this is a really silly one. So these are kind of just like quick fire ones to say the first thing that comes into your head. So is a Kinder Egg simply just a toy, or is it a deliciously chocolate treat with a bonus of a toy inside of it?
Chocolate with a bonus.
Do you like the taste of the chocolate? Yeah.
I love I love the Kinder Egg.
Fair enough.
What about the old toys though? Because the toys they put in Kinder Eggs now, shit.
Yeah, they're really bad.
Our boy has a Kinder Egg every now and again, and it's like some shitty little plastic thing that you got to build. Like when I was a kid, and I remember having them, they'd have like a proper like little China terrapin figure in them or something. That's collectibles. Yeah. They so throw away now. They shit.
Yeah, completely disposable. Camping in a tent or a static caravan for 1 week?
Static.
Yeah.
Static caravan. Fuck tents.
You've done your time.
Done my time in tents and bad bags.
Fair enough. Living in a city or living in the countryside?
Countryside. We basically live in the sticks. I mean, we live in the valleys of the Rhondda in South Wales. So I mean, they're all towns, but side of a mountain, jobby. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? There's nothing's open past 10 o'clock.
Yeah. If you
I
don't
love
get it
that.
by 10, you got to wait
Very
till the
fun.
morning.
Yep, fact.
Chocolate or sweets?
Chocolate. Definitely.
Bath or shower?
Shower.
Morning person or evening person?
Ooh, now I'm a morning person.
Yeah.
Yeah, since I was a baby, yeah.
Yeah, it's not a choice, is it? I always say to people that are like expecting children, because I've got a 9-year-old,
Yeah,
pretend that they're already here and sleep less.
yeah, definitely.
It will be
sleep less.
so much easier than
Yeah.
the crash course sort of whole
Just
fuck of, you know.
go to bed at 9 o'clock and set your alarm for every hour for the next 6 months, and then you'll be all right. You'll kind of be prepared.
Yeah, I remember when my son was first born, I was like, oh my God, I can like go downstairs and watch like Breaking Bad. I can watch like 2 episodes. I got to like the intro and I was asleep. And it wasn't me being lazy. It wasn't like, I couldn't keep up with the demands,
The
of the
first
body.
we're very blessed. Our daughter does sleep all the way through the night now, pretty much.
Yeah.
Wood. But the first couple of months were hellish.
Yeah.
Really. But I still know where I get up she wakes up about 5 o'clock, so I just get up and get on my static bike and do some exercise. Yeah. So I'm definitely
Fair
a morning
enough.
person.
Mario or Sonic?
Mario all day.
Apple juice or orange juice?
Orange juice.
With or without bits?
Bits. With the bits.
Blech.
Give me something to
Fucking
chew on.
hell.
I'm up for that.
I need a soundboard. I need a boo. Stream Deck thing. That's it. So that's all the sort of quick fire questions I've got. So I've got 3 more. One of them is a bit of a self-indulgent one,
Cool.
because I'm a bit of a narcissist. I've been doing this for 3 years now, and I just like chatting to people.
Have
you got any questions? You got any questions for me? Anything you want to ask me? Any guests that I've had on previously? Completely up to you what you ask. I'll be as honest as I can.
Yeah, who's been your favorite guest?
Oh shit.
You've had some pretty big guests on you, so
I have. I've been very, very lucky and very, very fortunate. Also matched with my tenacity of never say die. I've had some pretty substantial YouTubers on.
yeah.
And I recently actually got to meet one of them. He's called Ashens. And he reviews kind of Tap from Poundland, and he was just such a nice guy in like the real world. And I was like,
he reviews Tat from Poundland. Is that what you said?
Yeah. I'll send you a link in a bit. He's fucking
because
fantastic.
I'm not up on YouTubers. I'll be honest.
Yeah. There's a bit where he tries to like review a Jar Jar Binks toy, and he presses the button and it's going mental, and he ends up just smashing the fuck out of it with a hammer. And this video's got like 6 million views. Who else? I loved having Sean on. I can't believe he replied to me. That kind of showed who he was as like a person, that he was like sort of up for it and all that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
Billy Sheehan was pretty mental.
That's pretty cool.
He's the guy I watch on DVD. He's not the guy that has a Zoom meeting next to me. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Got some pretty crazy ones booked, so I won't spoil that. I kind of want to have some more Twitch people on.
Yeah.
And streamers, and because they're always obviously looking at the sort of finger on the pulse. But Brendan from Wheatus as well. I'm planning to see him soon in the real world, and that was a bit of a mad experience.
Yeah.
And that was made possible by MC Lars, who was just a legend.
That's crazy.
He just knows everyone. He literally has this direct line to everyone, like people from Bowling for Soup, people from like, Zebrahead, all that sort of stuff. So yeah, legend. So yeah, nice one. Good question. Any endorsements or band shout outs that you want to give to others?
Yeah, you can check out. So I play an RT Customs drum kit. So definitely go and check out RT Customs. You'll find a link to them on my Instagram or my YouTube or any of my socials. I'm endorsed by Solo Beat Drumsticks, so I'll give them a shout out as well. Check out our band, Raiders Band UK. Anything else going on? yeah, if you like wrestling and you want to check out some of the music, you can go and check out South Wales Kings, which is my my wrestling alter ego.
Mm.
Yeah,
Nice.
that's that's what I got to sell.
So good. Last question, slightly deeper than the other ones about apple juice and orange juice and bits and all that sort of stuff, is how do you want to be remembered?
Do I want to be remembered? I don't know if I do.
Yeah.
I probably would rather just fade away.
Yeah.
Take something from Kurt Cobain. It's better to burn
Yeah.
out than fade away. I don't know. I think it's better to fade away than burn out. So I don't know. To remember me as not a prick, hopefully. And hopefully I will have brought some people some enjoyment with the music, or maybe some people have enjoyed my drumming style over the years. But I'm not really about that kind of thing, man. Like, I try and stay, as background in more stuff as I can. Like I said to you, I'm grateful for you having me on here, because I don't get asked to do these kind of things very often. When you've got a front man like Sean, who else is going to get asked to do things? So I'm very grateful. But yeah, I don't want to be remembered.
Fair enough.
One day I will fade into family life and be forgotten about by this crazy world that I've been involved in for many years.
Well, as long as you've enjoyed the journey, that's what matters, I suppose.
The journey that matters, isn't it?
Yeah, that's it. Well, it's been a pleasure speaking to you. And as soon as this is out, I'll give you a shout. In the meantime, guys, I've taken on a new sponsor. As you've probably seen all over YouTube, if you're watching this on YouTube, there's probably 4 or 5 videos underneath this one, which is all my mates ever calling in lots of favors, reviewing Goat Energy. So we haven't got a full advert for Goat Energy at the moment. So if you go over to www.goatdrinks.co.uk and use the code BEDLAM10, you'll get 10% off your order. Also, shout out to Shanty Vodka and SETTSURF. And yeah, thanks for watching, listening. Who knows what you're doing right now? You could be doing anything, but thank you for being here. And tell a friend. And if you are listening to this on Spotify or Apple Podcasts, then please give this 5 stars. And thank you very much. And this has been Chris Stixx from Raiders. Go and check them out. And I promise you won't be disappointed, but you might be a little bit on edge. But that's all to do with Sean and nothing to do with anyone else. So, cheers, guys. Bye-bye.
Absolute Bedlam.
Hey guys, it's John here from Absolute Bedlam.
Bedlam.
We just wanted to take a moment to introduce you to our brand new Patreon. If you head over to Patreon now, you can get access to behind the scenes footage, ad-free content and episodes. You can even send your own requests in terms of the content you would like to see us create. All of this is available to you and more. We've got 3 options available to you as a patron with us. If you just want to support what we do and help build the Absolute Bedlam experience, a small fee of £1 a month, you can do just that. If you want to get access to that ad-free content, those ad-free episodes, for £5 a month, you can join the Hive. And if you want all of that and more behind the scenes footage, commission works with us, live Q&A sessions, for £10 a month, all of the madness, all of the chaos of Absolute Bedlam will be yours. So head over to Patreon now, become a patron, and join the Hive.
Absolute Bedlam podcast. Who? What? Where? Why?